Hi, we're Ann and Sam Gailey, and this is Novel Lab. And in today's lecture, we're going to be discussing the character's ordinary world.
But before we get to that, make sure you know your premise and what your story is about. First, let's explain ordinary. When we say ordinary world, we mean what's ordinary to your character. It's not necessarily ordinary to a reader. For instance, Katniss Everdeen's world in The Hunger Games. It's post-apocalyptic. There's a capital, there are districts, people are starving. She has to hunt for food with a bow and arrow. In no way is that ordinary to your world, but it is ordinary to hers. Other people refer to the ordinary world as status quo or equilibrium. Essentially, it's what your character's everyday world is like, where they live, what they do, how they think, the setting and the environment. Some of you might be asking, why are we studying or thinking about something like setting when we're talking about character development? The fact is, status quo, equilibrium, this ordinary world concept is key to setting up your character and what they have to overcome. And a lot of people have different opinions on when you should create your world, your ordinary world, or your setting for your character. Some believe you should do it first. Others believe you should really know your character and all his or her traits first. Sam and I actually have slightly different opinions on this, so we thought we'd share them with you.
When I'm writing a story, I really take a careful approach with the character first. I develop how he or she looks, where they live, how they live, if they're rich or they're poor, physical descriptions, tics, scars, anything that might be perceived as different about them. So I completely have a real clear picture of the character before I really think about their possible setting or their ordinary world.
And that makes sense for Sam because he's really becoming known as an author who creates character-driven dramas. And in his novels, though, I have to say the actual town, usually a small rural town, is also part of that ordinary world, but it's also it's a character essentially too. I love Sam's process, and he's created some really great novels, and so have other novelists and screenwriters who have written character-driven pieces. The fact is, though, that most screenplays and a lot of people prefer writing or reading plot-driven novels. So, especially in that case, what you might want to do is really look at your character's ordinary world and setting before you develop your character too thoroughly. My only fear sometimes is that if someone just writes an amazing character with all these unique traits and they don't know what the world is, it doesn't really do you any good. The character kind of has to go with the world. Back to Harry Potter, it's such a great example because this kid is set up in this world that is the opposite of the world that he's going to be projected or catapulted into. And I think that's partially what makes the story great. Let us give you a few examples of some really great ordinary world setups in books and movies. In The Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen's ordinary world consists of living in a post-apocalyptic world where she must hunt to keep herself and her family alive. She does this while trying to stay off the radar of the capital, which rules over the districts that are enslaved with an iron fist. In the book and the movie Harry Potter, Harry lives under a staircase with the Dursleys. He's treated cruelly, he thinks he's nothing special, and he lives in a world where magic is not important or even valued. In Bridget Jones's diary, Bridget is a modern working girl climbing the ladder in publishing. She has loyal friends, but a miserable love life. She hates exercise. She drinks and smokes and eats a lot of junk food. She imagines that if she quit smoking, lost weight, and became more sophisticated, someone nice would love her. The book and movie To Kill a Mockingbird takes place in the ordinary world of 1930s Alabama in a racially charged South. What you need to do is create a setting that really informs your character, creates conflicts, and sets them up for future growth. What is the best approach? We've been talking about this, and we think go back and forth between the lesson on character development and creating the unique traits for your character, and also, look at this lesson too, the one on ordinary world. If you look at them both simultaneously, we think that you might be able to create a better setting, ordinary world, and character that really deliver a fantastic story.
And in many ways, each informs the other. The character informs their own environment, their own ordinary world, and vice versa. The ordinary world informs the very character themselves. So yes. After this lecture, I recommend that you download some of the resources we've attached that will help give you some guidance and tips in creating a really interesting and unique ordinary world for your specific character.
Good luck!